Hi, Pastor Jerry, Redneck Atheist here again. I'm continuing to watch your ongoing discussion with noelplum99, and I find it fascinating. I find you to be a very sincere and likable person, but I still find you to be very delusional. Of course, I find all Christians to be delusional and all people of religion to be delusional. Because I used to be a Christian myself. And I could explain to you why I'm not a Christian anymore if you'd like, but I think that's outside of the scope of this discussion. But I would think you, Jerry, as being a Christian, do you not get tired of jumping through circles and jumping through hoops and making excuses for God? You have to make excuses for God when you're a Christian because horrible things happen. Bad things happen to people. Bad things happen in the world, natural disasters, and children get raped and murdered. Bad things happen. Notice I don't say evil, and I don't say good because good and evil are subjective terms that tend to have religious overtones. I do believe there are right things and there are wrong things. There are things we should do and there are things that we shouldn't do. There are things that advance our cause as a human being, and there's things that take away from our humanness, I must, for a lack of a better term. Um, but good and evil, from your viewpoint, must, as a Christian, come directly from God. If God has always existed, as you well believe, then everything that exists since God is here because of God's will. You have to accept that. And that includes your so-called evil. You say that God is sovereign over all. I don't see God's sovereignty as being an important matter in this because if God is sovereign over all, he's doing a very poor job of being sovereign. Anyone, including you, Pastor Jerry, anyone could have created a universe, a better universe, without such horrible consequences. You believe your God to be all powerful, all knowing, all loving. Those three don't mix because, and you've heard the argument, I don't need to go into it, but if God is all loving, then why does so many unloving things happen to people? I mean, you are right. If God exists, he didn't have to create us. You missed the point that Noel Plum was asking. He was asking, why did God create us knowing that bad things were going to happen and that 90 to 95% of us would be doomed to hell? You would think that he would just not create us and say that would be better. But according to your viewpoint, he loves us so much he wanted to go ahead and create us so he could send us to hell. It doesn't make a lot of sense. See, my argument is that if you say that all things will be made right when you're dead, that there's heaven and there's hell, there's God shows mercy on some and he sends the rest to justice, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm not talking about fairness or unfairness. If heaven is such a great place and such a perfect place to be, then why didn't he just create us to live in heaven with him? Why throw us down on this sinful earth so that we can toil and do wrong and get sent to hell? And why would he send people to hell? Why not just snap his fingers and make them cease to exist? Wouldn't that be the more loving thing to do than to send somebody to be tormented? I mean, forever is an awfully long time, and no one deserves to be tortured forever. There's been some horrible human beings, but I would never say that they need to be tortured forever because of what they have done. There's no crime that, and you say God's ways are higher than our ways. I don't think so. I think that God is the manifestation of our fears and our hopes. That we created something that we think is higher than us, but we use the carrot and the stick analogy. Here's the carrot. Do this, do this, do this. Believe this, believe this, believe that. You'll go to heaven. Don't believe this, don't believe this, don't believe that. Do this, do this, do that. Don't do this. You'll go to hell. It's basically feeding on the basic fears of people. You know, we're the only sentient beings on this earth who can understand that we are going to die, and we're afraid of that fact. Well, as I am wont to do, I tend to ramble on, so I'm going to stop for now.